Hey everyone, I thought I would just switch on the camera and just talk to you about stuff. So first of all, if you're new here, hi, welcome, my name is Irit. I'm a watercolor and mixed media artist, and most of the time on this channel I talk about watercolors and I paint and I play. But I finally experienced the depths of artist block, and admittingly sometimes I'm like embarrassed at certain things that I have kind of prejudice until, or like preconceptions until they actually happen to me. And I'm not saying that I didn't think that artist block was a real thing, because I did think it was, and I've read about resistance and I identified those patterns in myself, but I still thought it was kind of something that, you know, if you just show up, if you just sit down, it's a little bit easier to deal with. And then came kind of the never-ending winter that we had this year, with the pandemic, with not being able to see my family, and just like a lot of things that kind of came together and left me very, very blocked when it came to painting. And I've just, you know, I've tried to force myself, I've tried to guilt myself into doing things. I tried to like just do other stuff and not think about it. And yeah, I can't tell you what works. I don't know what works, but I can tell you just what I've did now. And actually the first time that I've painted something, even if it's really, really, I don't know, like, I'm not going to say ugly because I don't think it's ugly, but maybe very, very simple or weird, or, you know, I really don't know if other people would like it. But I was cleaning up my palette. You can see me chatting about my palette in a previous video. And this is where we're at. So I decided, first of all, thank you for all of your lovely comments and for the feedback. And you know, sometimes I think like, okay, I'm really just, you know, dealing with all the like minutia of this, and it's really not worth to get into this, to like discuss these things, like the colors on my palettes and what to do and how to clean and blah blah blah. But yeah, you know, sometimes you just find yourself focusing on something, and I guess in a way it was positive to get back to watercolors, even if it was in the most kind of useless way in terms of actually producing or painting anything. So I just thought, okay, I'm gonna try and make this palette work for me, and set it up in a new way. And I cleaned out some of the areas, and then I wasn't sure what to do with the others, so I decided, as some of you said, you know, just do it. If you're not going to use these colors, just get rid of them. And you're so right, because it doesn't, you know, it is maybe wasteful, but like, I don't like these colors. I'm not going to use them, so what am I going to do with them? But yeah, so I cleared out. I had here an indigo well that I cleaned out because I haven't been using indigo for at least a year. Some of it I just like dabbed, and then some of it just came to live here in my this is a hobonichi. I thought, okay, I'll just paint some pages here, because painting on Tomoe River paper, which is the paper in the hobonichi planners, is a very satisfying experience. It's completely different to watercolor paper. And you can see the paper kind of buckles. It behaves completely differently than watercolor paper. It doesn't really soak up the paint, but the wonder of it is, first of all, it becomes very crinkly in a gorgeous way that is very appealing to tactile people such as myself. There's also the crinkle, if you like that noise. Very satisfying. And yeah, and it's like super, super thin, but unlike something like copy paper, it will not, like the watercolors, do not ruin this paper. It's like magic. It's paper magic. So you can dump color on it, and you know, it will take it some time to dry because it doesn't really sink in, but it will dry and it won't ruin your paper. So I just decided, okay, I'll dump a bit on here, and then I dumped some of the green stuff on this piece of paper, and then on this one. I still have this well, which has my, this is mostly kind of like, what are they called? The cadmium red light colors, which I hardly ever use red, but if I use red, I really prefer the kind of orangey reds as opposed to more of like true reds or any kind of more bluish reds. I'm huge on pink. Pink is like where I live, but I really, really don't like red. Like something like alizarin crimson or, you know, other reds. It's like, yee, no. You know, what's the word I'm looking for? I give myself permission to change my mind. So yeah, so anyway, I was just starting to play, and then I thought, okay, maybe let's try to just fill a page with some pretty colors, and I did. And this actually reminded me of something I used to do a lot, and when I was painting in what I would consider kind of a classical, it's not very classical because I think it's a more modern way of using watercolors, but you know, when you think about artists like Haines or Angela Fair, you know, they have like these washes that they start with, and I did that for a long, long time until I realized it's probably not what I like to do. I mean, I really love their artwork, but for me personally, I don't like that. So I was like, okay, let's just try to focus a little bit and go with stuff you love. And I pulled out my Neocolor 1, although there are a couple of Neocolor 2 Neocolor 2s here in colors that they don't make in the Neocolor 1. That is very unfortunate, that the color range is different. However, the Neocolor 2 I find are still quite waxy, and unless you really work into them on your paper, they don't really move. So if you just like add watercolors very lightly, like I tend to do, you can still get a very, very similar effect to what you get with a Neocolor 1. It's not exactly the same resist because Neocolor 1 is water resistant, Neocolor 2 is water soluble, but it's close enough that I feel like with my technique I can get away with it. So I grabbed a piece of paper. This is actually really like student grade paper, that like a block that I've been going through it with Lily, and you know, we just sit together and paint. So this is like one of my sketches, color experiments, don't fall on my palette, and then she does all kinds of things. And yeah, we paint together. That's, oh yeah, that's another one. That's her half, that's my half. We just play around. I highly suggest and highly recommend, if you feel like you get too fussy, too precious with your watercoloring, grab a kid, yours or with permission of their parents. So, you know, your kid, your niece, your nephew, your grandkid, your friend, whatever, and, you know, paint with them together. And, you know, I just, when I sit with Lily, I find that I can really just experiment, try different things. So anyway, I decided, okay, I'm gonna grab some of my, let's see if I can drop something on the floor. It's getting crowded here. Yeah, I'll grab my beloved Neocolor 1 and just start sketching with it, and then I started adding more colors. This is another color that I really love. This is Sahara Yellow. and sketch something that is a very loose abstract representation of a beach scene, because we were recently in Greece, and those, just that, you know, feeling of that sun-drenched heat, that kind of, I have, as you can see, very light skin. I hardly ever tan, and I don't try to tan because of the harmful effects of the sun. And I actually really don't like that feeling when I know that the radiation levels are high, like between, you know, 11 and 3, 4. I'm always trying to stay out of the sun. But okay, side note, not connected to this, but you know, just that feeling of the beach, the water, the salt, actually where we were in Rhodos, a Greek island, that particular beach was really, really nice. I don't think I've ever been on that kind of beach. I come from Israel. We have tons of beaches there. They're all sandy. And it is very nice when you want to play, but once you get over that playing in the sand stage, yeah, sand gets everywhere. You know, you carry it back with you to the car, and then to your house, and then to your bathroom, and then it's everywhere. So this particular beach actually had pebbles, but it wasn't like those big, annoying, you know, hurting your feet, have to go into the water with shoes kind of stones, but rather really, really, really tiny, tiny stones. And that was really fantastic. I mean, it does kind of gets in your swimsuit and in your shoes, and it sticks to you. But once you're dry, it's like super, really nice. I'm a fan. Anyway, so I have that whole state of mind of like beach mode in my head. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to make something and not think too much about it. And this is what happened. And I have to tell you, I mean, you very well might be looking at this and thinking, what is this? Or this is ugly, or this is nothing, or a 4-year-old could do this, or whatever you think that I think. I have these thoughts myself on some of my artwork and on other people's artwork sometimes. And you go in the museum and you're like, okay, that they decided from all the artwork that they had available that this was worth hanging. So I think we all are guilty of thinking that. But first of all, this line was just like on this paper, and this is not great paper. This is, as I said, I use it with my kids, and even for, I think the problem is it's not the paper that is so bad, it's just too thin. I think it is like 200 GSM, and that's just not enough. But what I do love about this is, first of all, I painted something, and it's something that makes sense to me. It's something that is me. This could be a very, very, very rough stage on my way somewhere, or, you know, this could be a beginning of something. And what I love about this is, first of all, the process was from start to finish enjoyable, which is one of my goals when I paint with watercolors. Yes, I do think the final result is important. It's important to me personally. You know, maybe it's probably easier to be the kind of person that can just focus on the process and, you know, at the end even just feel happy to throw away the piece of paper you worked on. I am not that. I need at some point, not every time I sit down, but I need at some point to see a body of work, to see something produced that I love. That kind of keeps me motivated. And yeah, but here I'm looking at it, it just makes me happy. And how can you argue with that? So you can say, okay, this is not worthy to be in a museum. And I may agree with you on that. But to me, this is, to a degree, very authentic for me. It has exactly the colors that I love. It has my hand here with the brush strokes, with the scribbles. And It doesn't remind me of someone else's beach scene, and I mean, it's been done to death, like everyone. Like there's so many ways to paint like a beach, but I'm just, you know, figuring out my way, and this makes me incredibly happy. And besides this line that was on this paper that I tried to cover it with with like scribbling onto it with this pastel, I just really love it. And there's something also about the minimalism here that really speaks to me. So I just wanted to share this with you. This is, you know, first of all, if you feel the need, not that I really very rarely get negative comments, but if you feel the need to write something negative, first of all, try to resist. If you still have to, then you should know that I delete all rude or negative comments. This is my corner of the internet, and I have the power to eliminate those vibes from my space. And I just want to give you permission and inspiration to really try and focus on kind of, how can I say, like kind of distilling or really getting down to the root of what makes you happy in your process, like which products you love to use, how do you love to use them, and also something else I wanted to say that I forgot. And also, what do you actually do on paper that you do because you love it and not because it is something, you know, that you're like following a tutorial or you think you have to do? Because when I thought about, like, I've painted beach scenes before, and I've also painted with like reference photos, and honestly, for a lot of people, that's the way that they paint. And that's fantastic, that's great. There are gorgeous pieces of artwork done that way. But I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy having to go out and look for photos. I want to just paint. And that whole process of, you know, observing and looking at pictures and how do things look, and how does the water look, and how do the sun umbrellas look, and how does the sand look, I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy that. It's not fun for me. And yes, my goal is to have fun when I'm painting. And I also don't necessarily, I haven't really found the results of doing that prep work. And, you know, I've painted a lot of florals, and I have done a lot of observation of flowers. And at the end of the day, when I look at those paintings, yes, I can recognize that, you know, that technically maybe I captured certain flowers well or whatever. I can't tell you that it makes me like happy. I can't tell you that it makes me inspired. What makes me inspired is this mess inspires me. The colors, the scribbles, the way that the paint granulates. This makes me happy. The mixtures of colors that I got here, like these colors here, these are mixes that I made. It's not paint squeezed out of a tube. That makes me happy. That inspires me. That is something I want to play with, explore, and do more of. So I give you permission, you know, in case you need one. If you haven't, then that's amazing. I think you're on your way of becoming a much, you know, happier artist, to throw away everything that you don't love about your process and try to create art without it and see what happens. You know, maybe you will enjoy painting flowers more when you don't use a reference photo, when you don't try to capture the leaves exactly. And I'm not saying, you know, obviously everyone has their own path and Some people love painting like these hyper-realistic paintings of, you know, capturing things exactly as they are in reality. And I applaud that, and I can appreciate that skill, and I can understand that other people enjoy that process, but I don't. And if you're like me, I don't think it makes us less talented, less, like, it makes our artwork less worthy. Or that's at least what I want to say to myself. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, because, you know, there's obviously certain skills that take a long time to develop. For example, to paint, I can't remember her name, Anna something. She has this gorgeous, gorgeous, hyper-realistic style where she paints these incredible, you know, fruits and plants and everything, and it looks like the real thing. It's only on paper. That obviously takes a lot of time and a lot of meticulous work, and you really have to work with it, whereas something like this is just, you know, a scribble. But I can tell you that, you know, maybe someone is just like more like better at this, but it took me time to get to this place where I understand what I like, and I'm okay with doing that, and I don't feel like I have to present skills in, you know, depicting flowers or architecture, something like that, that is kind of obvious when you look at the painting. You're like, okay, this person has skills, this person is very talented. But I know also that I really appreciate abstract art, for example. And you could say with abstract art that, you know, there's no kind of obvious skill when you look at it. I mean, as a painter, I know that it's hard to produce attractive art consistently, but so I do believe there is a lot of skill in creating, you know, beautiful pictures that people respond to. But I respond to abstract art, which has no, you know, accurate depiction of a building. And so I can only hope that other people will feel the same about my artwork. And this, to me, feels like the beginning of something. It made me happy that I just sat down and made it. And, you know, I think that part, how I feel, is a lot more important than what I actually made, if that makes sense. So I'm feeling like I just want to make some sort of version of this, like a bigger, like a larger version, and see what happens. And there are a lot of things that I love here. I love the white space, and I love the looseness of this, and the movement and everything. And, you know, to me, this is the beach. This is the beach in my head. This mess and beautiful colors remind me of being on the beach in Greece. So I don't know, this video might be seem ridiculous to me and to you in the long run, but I just wanted to share with you. I guess my point is to, you know, if you're also struggling, just try something. Just start with the things that make you happy, and you never know what will happen and how it'll make you feel, and maybe it'll just spark a little bit of that love and enthusiasm you have for painting, for the medium, for, you know, expressing yourself. And, you know, maybe other people will see what you make and enjoy it, or maybe they won't. And, you know, if you keep things to yourself, then you'll never know how other people feel, and that can be also kind of a self, you know, like protecting yourself from critique or harsh comments or whatever, and that is totally okay. I guess the point is, especially for most of you that are watching, I think from what I know about the people that comment, most of you are kind of enthusiasts, and you do this for fun and not, you know, for a living. So I hope this will just maybe give you a nudge to, you know, just sit down, start small, you know, grab your favorite pastel, think about a place you love, think about colors you love to use, and just, you know, start and paint, and maybe something fun will come out of it and will motivate you to, yeah, go back to painting if, like me, you've been struggling. So let me just talk a little bit about the colors, because probably people will ask. A lot of times that's the questions that I get, and I totally get that because I love color. So the yellow is Naples yellow, and the purple is cobalt violet, and then this is cobalt teal, and there's also a little bit of lavender here. I used some moon glow in the mixtures, and those are the only colors that are in this painting. Everything else is a mixture of them. So all of these like more muted colors are mixtures of like cobalt violet and Naples yellow, and a little bit of moon glow, and then these are like pure colors, and it makes me incredibly happy. I don't know what to tell you. ridiculously happy. So that's it. I hope I will have more videos for you of just, you know, painting and focusing on the process, on things I love, and just trying to take it easy, kind of gently going back into painting. And that's, you know, one of the exciting parts about painting in such a way, painting intuitively, is you never know what will come out of you and what will happen. And yeah, I love that. I love that part of intuitive painting. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye bye.